Undoubtedly, the conceptual framework was useful to me personally, but it didn't seem to be considered equally valuable by others. I had to accept that judgment. I didn't give up my philosophical interests, but I came to regard them as a personal predilection. I continued to be guided by my conceptual framework, both in my business and in my philanthropic activities, which came to assume an increasingly important role in my life. And each time I wrote a book, I faithfully recited my arguments. This helped me to develop my conceptual framework, but I continued to consider myself a failed philosopher. Once I even gave a lecture with the title, "A Failed Philosopher Tries Again." All this has changed as a result of the financial crisis of 2008. My conceptual framework enabled me both to anticipate the crisis and to deal with it when it finally struck. It has also enabled me to explain and predict events better than most others. This has changed my own evaluation and that of many others. My philosophy is no longer a personal matter. It deserves to be taken seriously as a possible contribution to our understanding of reality. And that is what has prompted me to give this series of lectures. So here it goes. Today, I shall explain the concept of fallibility and reflexivity in general terms. Tomorrow, I shall apply them to the financial markets, and after that, to politics. That will also bring in the concept of open society. In the fourth lecture, I shall explore the difference between market values and moral values. And in the fifth, I shall give some predictions and prescriptions for the present moment in history. I can state the core idea in two relatively simple propositions. One is that the situation that has thinking participants, the participants' view of the world is always partial and distorted. That's the principle of fallibility. The other is that these distorted views can influence the situation to which they relate, because false views lead to inappropriate actions. That's the principle of reflexivity. For instance, treating drug addicts as criminals creates criminal behavior. It misconstrues the problem and interferes with the proper treatment of addicts. As another example, declaring that government is bad tends to make for bad government. Both fallibility and reflexivity are sheer common sense. So when my critics say that I am merely stating the obvious, they are right, up to a point. What makes my propositions interesting is that their significance has not been generally appreciated. The concept of reflexivity in particular has been studiously avoided and even denied by economic theory. So my conceptual framework deserves to be taken seriously, not because it constitutes a new discovery, but because something as commonsensical as reflexivity has been so studiously ignored. Recognizing reflexivity has been sacrificed to the vain pursuit of certainty in human affairs, most notably in economics. And yet, uncertainty is the key feature of human affairs. Economic theory is built on the concept of equilibrium. And that concept is in direct contradiction with the concept of reflexivity. As I shall try to show in the next lecture, the two concepts yield to two entirely different interpretations of financial markets.